So, good morning to everyone that is in the room. Good any time of the day for all those that are watching us virtually from all around the world. My name is Yaki Dayan. I'm the founder of EdTech Israel. I'm so delighted to be here and moderate this session. I'd like to say a few words before we actually start and dive into introducing Dan and Roy from HackerU and Cybint. There is definitely a different atmosphere here at this time at the ASU+GSV. After not meeting so many people for so long, actually I remember, Roy, March 2020, we were both on the airplane all the way to India.
Yeah, we decided not to get into the conference, otherwise we would be quarantined, but yeah.
It was the EdTech Review Summit, we had a delegation, we went over there. When we landed over there, we've been told that if we go into the summit, we need to have 2 weeks mandatory quarantine when we go back. So we had to do all the meetings at the lobby. So much have changed since then. I think that was my last international trip, and I don't know if you also felt it, but people speak about SEL. I think that something that I felt in this specific summit is that it's very emotional in the sense that many people jump on each other, hug and say, hey, we didn't see you for so long. So I want to take the opportunity to thank very much the team of the GSV, Deborah, Michael, the entire team. That I want to salute them for their courage, for their commitment to continue this industry moving forward, and definitely for giving us the opportunity to be here as an Israeli delegation. It's the 4th time that I'm fortunate to have this opportunity to curate and to moderate an Israeli session at the ASU+GSV. And this year, I think it's even something more special because it's like for me a dream come true. Because when we started EdTech Israel in September 2014, we had a dream that one day we'll have companies that are so impactful as the new combination of HackerU and Cybint. So with me are 2 CEOs, Dan from HackerU, Roy from Cybint, that just announced a few days ago on the acquisition of Cybint by HackerU. And I would like, Dan, if possible, to start with you and give us a little bit about HackerU before the acquisition, like, June 2021, where have you been, what's your impact was in the States? Just give us some background.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to ASU+GSV, and thank you to you, Yaki, for doing this every year again and again, and bringing companies and promoting them and helping them, supporting them.
Thank you.
A little bit about HackerU. Well, HackerU was founded 15 years ago in Israel and became the #1 IT and cyber training center, really concentrating on preparing people for the workforce, putting them in, training them, and bringing them into the digital skill jobs, and really helping them not just get the job and survive, but really to thrive. About 4 years ago, we decided to globalize the company and to train global learners into the digital skills. I have to say that my partner, he is in this business already 30 years. He saw Israel startup nation 30 years ago and saw the huge need for software engineers. When we came to the States, we decided to collaborate with top-tier universities like NYU, University of Michigan, University of Miami, American University, and to really bring very comprehensive programs to people from different socioeconomic levels, different backgrounds, different education, and to enable them to come to very lucrative cyber and digital skills markets. Today, we work with over 20 universities globally, where the impact is the most important. And so we really have 3 North Stars that push the company forward. One is to make sure that we have university satisfaction, meeting their needs, aligning with their interests, and really being the best partner we can be. The second, not less important, is student outcomes, student success. Really making sure our students find an amazing job through a very comprehensive, very rigorous training, whether it be in cybersecurity, digital marketing, coding. And the third is really making an impact. And I have to say, I'm very grateful where I am, right? I have a job that my job is every day to make an impact, every day to enable people to have job opportunities, new sustainable job opportunities. And today, with everything that's happened last year and a half, with COVID, with the huge challenge that we have in digital transformation that's faced by our communities, by people, I'm very grateful that I'm where I am, and I wouldn't want to be any other place. With that said, HackerU does much more than cyber. And really, it's about digital transformation. And we've been doing digital transformation for over 15 years. So if you allow me, we'll show a minute of a clip that will, I think, show where we are today.
Yes, why not? This is related to your rebranding,
Yes.
probably. Oh, okay, wonderful.
Technology is changing and will continue to disrupt everything around us. How we live, work, learn, interact, consume, get around.
It will impact all aspects of our lives, especially our jobs. In this process, we'll see a major transformation. Some industries will fade, others will prosper.
How do we prepare people for this new reality, for these new opportunities? In this brave new world, we'll need a brand new workforce. We'll need to teach them a new language, a new culture, a new code.
We'll empower them, not just to survive, but to thrive.
Cybersecurity, digital marketing, UI/UX design, software engineering, data science and analytics, fintech, cloud computing, AI, machine learning, and beyond. Thrive DX, digital transformation training.
So this leads me to you, Roy. You are expert in cyber education, and can you give us a glimpse of what Cybint has been doing up and before the merger, before the acquisition, and now what your plans are for the future?
So when we thought about starting Cybint a few years ago, we understood that there is a wide range of digital transformation needs, and we had to, as a small company, as a startup company back then, had to choose the niche that we felt that we have the biggest added value, and that we felt that there is the strongest demand and also the biggest change. And we identified cybersecurity, and specifically two main aspects in cybersecurity, which are the talent shortage, meaning the bringing more professionals into the industry for entry-level positions, but also the skills gap, meaning the fact that organizations from small to the biggest organizations around the world are suffering from skills gap in different digital transformation aspects, but specifically within cybersecurity, it's a matter of, we can call it life or death. And it's not just training the cybersecurity professionals, but it's also the need for cybersecurity skills among other professionals in the organization. For example, developers, which is, software development is one of the fastest growing fields, but secure coding or secure by design within this segment is a huge need. And these are not necessarily cybersecurity professionals, but they need the skills. Same with IT, same with executives, same with general employees. So Cybint decided to focus on the cybersecurity element, and now joining into Thrive DX is bringing both the more abilities to grow into the space, into the corporate space of corporate training in cybersecurity, and kind of like complement what Thrive DX as a group is doing in all other fields of expertise.
So maybe let me look at it from a slightly different angle, and I'll appreciate your thoughts about it. Because when you say that you bridge a skills gap within an organization, one can also look at it as if you are also preserving your human capital in the people that you already have, and you don't need to fire them and rehire, which is, some people look at it like more the corporate responsibility side, the human capital retention side, and of course giving also people that sometimes are more elderly. I mean, some people that say that if you're over 45, you are over the hill in some of the high-tech companies. So do you have maybe some numbers on that based on your experience, and how many of them are your clients today, and what's maybe some story of impact that you are very emotional about?
Yeah, that's a very good point. On a practical level today, for companies, it's very, very important, both on an HR level and retention, and both in terms of being able to find the right skilled employees to cover the digital transformation challenge that every company is facing. And it reminds me of the story of Jose. It's from a different angle, it's from his angle, but it tells the exact story. Jose was a nurse in Jackson Hospital, Miami. And after 18 years, the hospital was going to fire him. And he was really in a bad place, right? He had a family to support and everything. And he came and he saw the cyber course. And we start with an intro course. So he took the intro course and he saw that actually he has passion for it and he was good. He had his friend help him sign up on the loan. And he kept going for 10 months through our extended course. He was dyslexic, it was very difficult for him, but he passed with flying colors. He really excelled in it. And a week after he graduated, that same hospital gave him a job in the cyber department. They needed so much cyber people, and he answered all the qualification after our course. And he was the most appreciative person that I've seen, right? He was like, I have my life back, I have my job back, I have my tenure back. I have a job now for the next 20 years. And Jose is just like Elizabeth, and just like Joe, and just like Josh. It's a story of our students where we take them, and we have 65% from diverse communities or different socioeconomic levels. Over 30% earn less than $25,000 a year. And they come in through our course, they train for 10 months, and they get placed in a job that starts at $50,000, $60,000, $80,000. So it's really transforming their lives, really about making generational impact throughout their family. Right? And that's just a starting salary. They understand that to keep on learning, they'd be able to earn more and really support their families much more. And this is stories again and again. We have a religious lady that takes care of 8 kids, couldn't afford. She came and she studied cybersecurity. Now she takes care of the whole kids and helping in the synagogue and everything. So these are the stories all the time of people from diverse backgrounds, from different socioeconomic levels, coming in, learning the skills of jobs that are needed tomorrow.
And if I may add, it also goes beyond what we see in the US. So when we think globally, in digital transformation going globally in countries like, in emerging markets, in countries like India, in different parts of Southeast Asia, in different parts of Latin America, we see that the demand there for skilled people with the right skills in cybersecurity and in other fields of expertise is growing, exponentially even. And this is a win-win-win situation. I mean, it's a win for them because they get a new career opportunity. It's a win for the industry because, and the different market and the different governments because they have more skilled workforce. And it's also a win for us as a group because we are, we have the ability to make this amazing impact and make this amazing change in the United States and globally. And this is part of what we want to, achieve as a group.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was one of the reasons you flew with me all the way to Delhi.
Yeah.
Now, but do you have already maybe an example of one of the, let's say, new market entrants that you have done in some of those global markets, or some other cases that can show the expansion of that?
Sure. I mean, I think we can start, in general, we see the demand in different parts of the world, but specifically Asia Pacific, Southeast Asia, and India within this region is going to be, it is our main focus and going to be even more. As India became the tech hub and IT hub for the world years ago, it also becomes right now, gradually a cybersecurity hub and a bigger development hub for countries around the world. Even our company, for companies around the world, even our company is now outsourcing and using resources from India. So this is something that will just grow more and more. And what we see right now is that Cybint, now Thrive DX, under the brand Cybint, specifically in India, is partnering with leading universities and leading institutions from IIT in India to MIT WPU to other organizations, specifically in India, bringing their students with the right and necessary skills in cybersecurity. So, I don't want to, say things too early, but I do believe that for us as Thrive DX and as Cybint, India is going to be one of the main growth engines.
Well, definitely, but I would like maybe to go from India back to Israel, if I may. And I noticed on your LinkedIn profile image, we are hiring, okay? Now, people here that maybe are not aware with what's happening in Israel right now, 2021 was such a record year for everything related to the Israeli high-tech, with so many IPOs, SPACs, huge investments, hundreds of new millionaires that just overnight became a new level in the Israeli high-tech, which is, at least in my eyes, is also creating maybe some antagonism among other, maybe not so privileged parts of the Israeli society, but at the same time, I understand that is creating a huge problem in hiring. Is that correct?
So Israel right now is facing, not just Israel, but yesterday, actually, I had a meeting and I was asked, like, Israel is such a small country. I mean, is there enough jobs for all of these people that you're training as HackerU in Israel and others? And I said, actually, there are just not enough people to fill in all the open positions. And what we see right now in Israel is actually, I wouldn't say insane in the amount of demand that the market needs for skilled people in cybersecurity, in digital marketing, in UX UI, in software engineering. And this is actually not going to stop because, as you said, the money coming from the big, the big corporations, from the public markets, to this tech hub called Israel is making the demand for skilled professionals much, much bigger than before. The same situation is now happening in other tech hubs around the world. In the United States, not just Silicon Valley, you see what's happening in Austin, Texas, for example, that becomes a tech hub. And there's just not enough people to fill in the demand there, or other parts in Europe, other parts in Asia. So what we see right now is exactly the fact that while some jobs or some industries are fading, other industries are actually growing exponentially. So if you think about it in the long term, the opportunity is bigger than the risk. We just need to help fill in the gap.
So if I may, I would like maybe Dan and Roy, you to help me a little bit in the next part of the session. Because I think it's part of our, I don't want to say obligation, but maybe opportunities to also assist other CEOs of other startups in our domain to flourish and reach to the world. So I'd like to turn now the spotlight to Dotan and Dov from Clickto and CirQlive. I invite you to join us on the stage. Tell us a little bit of what you're doing. And I decided that me as a moderator I speak enough, so I will ask maybe Roy and Dan to maybe give them some questions or advice or have this chit-chat with them on the podium. So, Dotan, go ahead.
All right, thank you so much, Yaki. Thanks everybody here. I'm Dotan Tamir. I'm the CEO of Clickto. We are a young startup, but to me, it's a journey. I started an education company 14 years ago. So this is now.
He just looks 18, but he's a bit older.
Thank you. With the basically entering the online education space. So when we look at online education in the last 15 years, most of it was focused on learning alone. And the whole idea was, wow, now you can learn from everywhere on your own time, but you're going to learn alone. But somebody who had a camps company and kids learning together, learning has always been about being together, about learning from each other, about learning from a real person, which translates to fun and engagement and empowerment. So we see now a new wave. They call it the cohort-based learning wave of education. And in the past, if you wanted to go and have a course on cooking or parenting, maybe marketing, online, most of what you would find is those pre-recorded videos. If you wanted your children to take an enrichment course online on STEM or arts, it was mostly pre-recorded videos. Today, after this year and a half of transformation, you can actually learn online from anywhere you want, but with real people. So Clickto is this platform for cohort-based learning, for enrichment providers, for training centers that start to realize that just starting a Zoom link, a Zoom room, is not going to take their business online. They actually need a platform to build their online business, to manage it all, to get registration, enrollment, payments, manage all the teachers, solve all the problems with the links to the Zoom rooms, and then really scale up their business, because now they can serve not just their people in their proximity, but they can now serve people of the world. So that's what Clickto is doing. We are here, we met so many amazing people and interesting stories, and we feel like we are in the right time, in the right place. That's what Clickto is about.
Dan, maybe.
Maybe first, it sounds really amazing and really needed. I think in the context of cohort-based learning, both what's being done at ThriveDX in all of its brands. Definitely, we strong believers in cohort-based learning, not just in the. There is also a room for the self-paced individual learning, but some things needs to be taught in this way. My main question, I think, is. One of the trends we saw in 2020, 2021 with COVID is kind of like also the passion market, or sometimes it's called like people that are not necessarily, had their own education company, but they are experts in one field and they decided to start their own learning program and their own course. And they actually have followers, but they don't have how to manage them necessarily. So I think the question to you is, do you think that, Clickto or are you also tapping into this market, or what's the strategy from your point of view?
So I think the creators economy is definitely an interesting space, a new space for education. To us, we are actually looking at those potential educators that might not have their community and followers. Maybe they are, it's an engineer in Barcelona that has their day job in HP, but they're passionate about teaching. They could never really teach before this time because there was no place for them to do that. But they want to meet those students. They want to deliver their knowledge. They want to support them and coach them. Now they can be a teacher. And join one of those schools that is teaching, that is running those courses. And so I think what we will see in the future is that everybody can be a teacher, everybody can be an educator, if they're good at it, if they're passionate at it, for it. And so we are, one of the steps one of the next layers that we are planning to build is the place where all those potential educators, all educators of the world could meet those organizers that know how to run a school, know how to get enrollment, how to manage payment, and they can be matched. So an educational program would be a program where The learners are from everywhere, the teacher is from everywhere, the organizers is everywhere, it doesn't matter. It's a flat world.
It's really interesting because it's kind of like thinking, revolutionizing the, like maybe Udemy or like did with like the individual teachers that add their pre-recorded content, do the same thing for the cohort-based learning experience, like just having educators from around the world. It sounds
wonderful.
Dotan, what in the last year and a half, where did you see the biggest growth coming from? And where do you think now, in the next year and a half, where hopefully COVID will disappear, but definitely the environment is changing, where do you see the next growth coming from? Do you think it's going to change?
Yeah, I think, well, we started Clickto as a platform for virtual summer camps because there was a need, for all those amazing summer camps that couldn't run in summer 2020 to be able to do something valuable and impactful in real time. So that, and then we focused on the enrichment providers for kids. I think now people, they had so much time on Zoom, so much time on online video, and they want to go outside a little bit. And it's going to be a hybrid world. We're not going to tell everybody you're only going to be online, you're only going to do online learning, and also providers are not only going to teach online, they're going to have their own classrooms, real brick and mortar classrooms, but also online presence, online courses. So I think we, companies or smaller companies that do what you do, and there are many of those smaller schools everywhere in different topics that have been doing this for so many years in the brick and mortar world, now start to realize that, there's an opportunity there to go online. And they really don't have the tools, they don't have the know-how, how to do it right, how to do it engaging, how to do it fun. So I think that's the opportunity for Clickto to really come to those organizers in schools and tell them, we're not just going to give you the platform to manage this with the right technology, but we're also going to show you how to do it right and to scale up your business.
Thank you. Dov.
My turn.
Whoa. I already know what you're doing, and I think we are right in time.
Time's clicking down.
No, I mean that your timing is so perfect.
Perfect, absolutely. So my name is Friedman. I'm a co-founder and senior vice president of business development at CirQlive. CirQlive is a little bit different than some of the other startups here because we've been around for a long time, 8 years already in the synchronous learning space. And we knew Zoom before Zoom was Zoom. We're actually one of the first partners with Zoom, if you can imagine, when they first started. So much so that we spoke to Eric, like he was like actually answering the phone, if you can imagine. And what we do is, we're an integration platform for web conferencing platforms for synchronous learning into every learning management system in existence, both in the education, so that's higher ed, and higher ed before the pandemic was most of our customers, and now K-12 is just exploding because every K-12 district and in the US and every K-12 school in the world basically says we need a solution now for something online and we don't know where to start. So I like to say we're a little bit more than just an integration. We're more of a management panel and management tool where the schools have an LMS and now they have something like Zoom and they need to manage it, they need to put it together. So instead of, I can tell you from example for me, during the pandemic, my wife and I had tons of WhatsApps and messages of different links and different Zooms and different platforms, and everybody was my kids missed class because there was just too much. We were working, we're all home, nobody knew what was going on, and it was a big mess. And what we do is we essentially say, you have an LMS, you have a web conferencing platform like Zoom or WebEx, GoToMeeting, BlueJeans, and we put the two together. So we say, okay, you can now manage, schedule, join, host. We have an appointment scheduler, a specific appointment scheduler, so you can schedule these appointments like office hours, virtual office hours, parent-teacher conferences virtually, which every teacher and every parent in the crowd or online knows that not to have to go to a class at night to meet the teacher is much more convenient. Not to have to get a babysitter. And it really just makes everybody's life a lot easier. And it's all done in a secure way. So everybody talks about security and Zoom bombings, quote unquote. And what we've done is created a way that we don't send a personal meeting room or use a personal link. So you're not using your link that you would send now to start a meeting. It's all unique URLs. So everything is, again, managed within one place. Everything is, there's no links, emails. Recordings are done automatically. You have data and analytics. And from admin to parent to teacher to student, it just makes everybody's life a lot easier. So we like to tell our customers, we say, now the teachers can teach, the students can learn, and the admins can do everything else they need to do. They don't have to worry about, did my student get the link? Where's the link? Did I change the link? What's the password to the link? Which are they using Zoom or WebEx this time? Are they using this LMS or that LMS? Or are they using Google Classroom? Or are they using Canvas? Whatever it is, it's all centralized in one place. And it just makes everybody's life a heck of a lot easier. Yeah, we're based in Israel. I don't sound Israeli. I don't have an Israeli accent. I'm American, born and raised in the US. I moved to Israel about 16 years ago and started CirQlive about 8 years ago. Like I said, mostly in the higher ed space, and now K-12 and corporate training is, with the pandemic, is really, really kicked in gear, because everybody needs, like I said, that they need to organize themselves and get, even if the pandemic goes, like Dotan said about the hybrid world. So that's what it is. We've been telling people for many years, what if there's a snow day? What if kids get sick? Don't you want to be able to bring them into the classroom? And it was like, yeah, okay, we'll sort of do it maybe. Now everybody's like, okay, well, the pandemic, it was a race. Like everybody, at the beginning of the pandemic, whatever it is, let's just get them online. And a lot of kids miss class. Now that awareness is there and people understand that we need some type of solution, whether for this pandemic, whether it's a natural disaster across the globe, whatever it is, we need a way for kids to learn. In Israel, we have a few customers that are in areas that are war-prone. I don't know how a nice way to say it, but like in the south, and they're, unfortunately, over the last 5, 6, 7 years, several times a year, they have to go into a bomb shelter. And they continue to learn because they can just go online and they know where to go, and it's very simple and easy for them. That's an example in Israel, but it could be anywhere in the world, whether it's floods, hurricanes, snow days in the US. We get a lot of angry kids. The teacher's telling us the kids are upset because there's no more snow days because they just go online. So we're very proud of what we do. We're very proud of the business we've built, the customers that we have that are jumping online and getting online and using that hybrid model of and organizing their online life. Really was what it's about. The synchronous learning.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I'm sure you had a competitive advantage before COVID because you were one of the only ones there, and you knew Eric. So how has now changed? Because I'm sure that there's quite a few competitors now. What do you do to make sure that you keep your competitive advantage?
So first of all, a lot of it is partnering with people. So a lot of the companies that we partner with don't necessarily have the resources and the funds to build an integration for themselves. They're very focused on what they do. But they understand, especially now during Corona, before and after that and during, that they need an integration. They need a seamless way to like put themselves in there. So for us, people understand that, number one, the security is a big deal, right? The fact that we get rid of 99% of the Zoom bombings. I mean, I'll give you an example. One of our customers, the community college system in California, they went from 200,000 users, I think a month, to 1.2 million a day at the beginning of Corona. And we did not get a single complaint about Zoom bombing, where people who were just doing it on their own, they said, well, people are coming in from all over, and I'm like, well, that's because you send your links out. And once you send your links out, the kids can send it to other people. So the security is a big one. And also a lot of people, the competitors have built a very simple, very basic integration without the features and functionalities above and beyond the security, without the data analytics, to sort of check a box and say, okay, now we have an integration, we can do it, versus us, where we're dedicated to what we do. So all the additional features and functionalities that we can offer including the security, including the attendance records and pulling in the recordings automatically. I think that automation and the support that we give, I think is a biggie. A lot of our partners, like I said, like we have one in the crowd, Cybint, they use our APIs. Like, so we offer APIs. A lot of the competitors that just build one as a checkbox don't have that ability. So we can be built into any of these platforms. I spoke to Dotan also, like him, for example, and others like him, it's just not what they do. So we can offer those APIs, and we can just put our seamless integration for Zoom, because everybody's using Zoom or WebEx or GoToMeeting or BlueJeans, or we're working with Agora now also. Use what you want, choose, put it into your platform, and make everybody's life a lot easier. He doesn't have to worry about what are they using, how are they using it, how are they scheduling it. He can worry about getting his customers, keeping them happy, and developing his own platform.
You mentioned higher education, then now more K-12 corporate training. Where do you see kind of like the future of the business? Or, I mean, I guess in all segments, but is there like a specific segment that you think this is going to be it?
So I think K-12 is huge. They just were really unprepared because they didn't have to be prepared. Now it's globally, it's a huge growth market. And I think also a lot of, also what like Dotan said, a lot of these little places, little is not the correct word, smaller startups that are saying, I teach English. I've taught English my whole life, and now I want a platform I want to be able to teach English to China online, and I don't know how to do that. So a lot of those smaller people that were tutoring one-to-one in person say, I can now reach the world, like because Zoom has become a verb, you know, and everybody knows it, and everybody is aware of it now. It's something that everybody wants to join that revolution. And that I think is all the teachers can go online themselves and make their own money, make separate money from teaching, additional money, tutoring, etc., and they can just do it online in a seamless way.
Well, thank you very much. We still have 2 minutes on the clock. So is there someone here, maybe on the audience, that would like to ask a question or to bring something up to the panel members? Yes, Patrick. Well, I would like to answer this first, and then let them answer.
if I may,
I think there are two things primarily, and of course, Dotan, I will let you also bring your thought. Is one that Israeli companies going international is part of their DNA. That's not even an option. While you see many U.S. startups or U.S. companies that go and they even being acquired for $600, $700 million and never go outside of the US. The other thing is the fact that we are not coming from the same talent pool or mind pool. Meaning that a startup can come and start in Israel and reach even maybe substantial growth before he's even noticeable here in the US market. Because here, if you start something in Palo Alto, everyone in New York and Atlanta hears about it the day after.
I really relate to what you said, Yaki. I think we have kind of a more challenging journey because we are far away from the markets. We don't live in the markets, but that also makes us work harder on finding out the real problems, not assuming that we know just because we are in the market, not just asking our neighbors because they are there, but really finding out, looking at the whole market, and the other thing is making sure that we are doing giving a really good experience. I think that's something that you can see in some of the nicely, the new big companies coming out of Israel, like Monday.com and others, that are delivering really great experience.
One other point, necessity is the mother of all creativity. The reason you have two cyber companies here, cyber training, but the reason Israel is so strong in cyber is because of necessity. Cyber in Israel is a matter of life and death. It's not, we don't do it because we need to pay less ransomware. We also, but when you're under the gun every day, and when you have to solve the cyber problems and be the best you can be in order to defend your country, that creates a sense of creativity and a must that you must create the best training, you must create the best technologies. That's a secret sauce that you can't replicate.
So, you know, the clock is telling me that our time is up, but I'd just like to have one final remark about that. You know, the head of the Israeli Innovation Authority said a couple of years ago that innovation is not enough, because innovation without action is just a good idea. So it's innovation and action, innovation and entrepreneurship, and innovation and creativity. This is what makes, I think, many of the Israeli companies, you know, that's their DNA. And Patrick, we will be soon announcing the Israel EdTech 50 of the best Israeli EdTech companies. So together with EdTech Israel and Holon IQ. So stay tuned, and thank you very much for joining our session.
Thank you.
Thank you.